YouTube. Today on the Night Librarian, I am going over my December TBR list. So December, I am being very ambitious with this TBR list because there's a lot of holidays coming up. There's Christmas, there's New Year's. Whew, it's gonna be hard to get some reading done towards the end of this month, but I want to squeeze in as many books as possible before the end of the year. So I'm like, oh, what am I gonna end the year with? Oh my gosh, this is like a pressure list. But I have some very good options on here. I got some Christmas picks, I got some regular picks, I got all these kind of things that I definitely want to squeeze in before the end of the year. So let's just get into what I'm going to be reading in December. I'm super pumped about it. Let's start things off right with a Christmas pick, and I have All I Want for Christmas is a Vampire by Kerrelyn Sparks. And I was like, yes, all of the yes, you had me at the title. So it's Christmassy, it's vampires, and there's gonna be a smutty tab. Oh, okay. Like, that's a decent smutty tab. That's pretty smutty. Ooh. So, this is Tony Davis's Christmas wish list. Let's just read the wish list. Springing my best friend from the psych ward. Good. 2, living somewhere that doesn't have the coffins in the basement. Occupied coffins. And 3, finding Mr. Right. Please make him tall, dark, handsome, and alive. So obviously there's this girl, Tony, she has a friend in a psych ward she's trying to get out. There's vampires, and she's like, I don't want to date them, but I guess she's going to end up dating this vampire for Christmas. And, I mean, you don't really need to know more than that. It's just going to be Christmas time, and there's going to be a vampire. It's a vampire Christmas romance. Yes, I've never read one before, and I'm like, why aren't these like everywhere? I'm obsessed. So I'm very excited to read this one. It's paranormal romance, it's vampires, it's Christmas. It's perfect holiday pick. Another Christmas pick for me at the complete opposite end of the romance spectrum is The Trouble with Mistletoe by Shalvis. This is part of her Heartbreaker Bay series. These are all kind of jaunty rom-coms in San Francisco. I've read a couple other books by her in this series, and I've been waiting all year to read this because I was like, ooh, Trouble with Mistletoe. I kept wanting to pick it up earlier in the year, but no, I'm gonna wait for Christmas. And I did. I waited all the way till Christmas. I kind of wish I didn't, but like, I'm happy I did. This is Willa and Keen, and Willa owns a pet shop, and then Keen, he walks in with a big pink glittery cat case. He's like, I have a cat from hell. And she's like, Keen? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, you don't remember me? And he's like, no. And she's like, fuck you. So apparently they have the past that he has forgotten about, but she has not. And also there's going to be animals and a sassy cat, and they're going to fall in love and probably bang the bejesus out of each other all around Christmas. So, I mean, it's got everything I want. It's got funny animals, it's a rom-com, Christmas, San Francisco. Like, it's going to be fun. It's just going to be a fun, delightful little romp of a book, and that's kind of what I want. I read so many heavy things that I just want something delightful every once in a while. So, I mean, look at this. This is full of delightment. Delightment, is that a word? It might not be, but it is in this context. But yes, it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a fun little jaunty romp of a book for Christmas. Also, I really, really want to read The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg before the end of the year. I've been dying to read this. So many friends have recommended it to me. For example, Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany. It's one of her favorite books of the year. I've been dying to read this. I actually think she sent me a signed copy. Is this a signed? Yeah. Bethany's a luminescent starfish of a person, so she sent me a signed copy. I need to read it. It seems really cool. It's kind of like Westworld meets Disney, because they have this like fantasy fairy tale theme park where there's animatronic cyborgs essentially, and I'm thinking the Snow White character gets blamed for a murder, so murder robots, and it's also like Disney, like, but not Disney obviously, like, you know, off-brand Disney. So I'm like, murder princess robots, yes. Like, don't tell me anything else. You don't gotta tell me anything else. I'm already in. Like, murder princess robots, yes please, sign me up. I am going to finish my Sarah J Maas journey this year with A Court of Frost and Starlight. And this is kind of like a novella after the events of the ACOTAR trilogy. And I know the series is allegedly supposed to continue in the future. And here's the thing about this book. Personally, I am not the hugest fan of this series. Like, honestly, I can kind of take it or leave it. However, there are a lot of people who are big fans of this series. So people like me, people who don't like the series, and people who love the series have one thing in common, is that everyone hates this. Like, I have not seen a single good review of it at all. Even from people who love the series, they effing hate this. So I had this like morbid curiosity of just like, how bad is it? Like, I don't like reading books that I know I'm gonna hate on purpose, because I feel like that's unfair to the book. But it was my goal to read all of the Sarah J Maas books by the end of the year, because her new series comes out in January 2020, so I want to be ready. And whoo boy, this one I have very low expectations. Like, my expectations are slightly above dumpster fire, frankly. So I'm hoping I'm not gonna be like astounded with how bad it is. Maybe it's gonna be okay. Like, I can kind of take or leave the series, so maybe I'm gonna be indifferent. But yeah, I haven't seen anyone like this. We're gonna read this together and see what happens. But I might hate it. Who knows? Who knows? It's gonna be more Fae. It's gonna be after that big war at the end of the series. So shit's gonna be messed up, and I'm assuming they're dealing with that and doing Fae stuff. I don't really know what's gonna happen. I just know everyone hates it, so like, I'm morbidly curious about it. Also on my list for December is Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. I have heard very, very good things about this, and I've definitely been wanting to read it, and I've finally decided, you know what? I want to try to squeeze this in before the end of the year. It's kind of Victorian era. I think there is capers in it. It's a romance. And the main characters are Annabelle and Montgomery, which are like the most historical romancy names I have ever heard. But basically, Annabelle is one of the first female students at Oxford, and she's on the hunt for guys who are going to back a women's suffrage movement. So it's hard finding guys who give a shit. Even today it is, but back then it was even harder. And she has her eyes set on Montgomery. She's like, this guy, he's gonna do it. He's gonna back this. And he's just like, and she's like, listen, you're gonna do this. And I assume from this antagonistic relationship blossoms attraction and romance and love and smut, maybe? I'm not sure. But it's definitely it's being billed as feminist, it's being billed as a sassy, intelligent heroine, and I like those. So, I don't know. I am optimistic about it, but it also depends on like what kind of romance it's going to be. Is it going to be slow burn? Is it not going to be funny? I'm not sure, because I need like fast burn and funny. Those are like my keys, so we'll find out. But I have heard good things, and I'm very intrigued by this, so I'm pretty pumped to read this in December. Also on my list for December is Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren, and it is their most recent release. I have read everything Christina Lauren have ever written, so I obviously want to read this. However, I am very, I don't know, cautious going in, because I feel like this is not going to be indicative of what I like about Christina Lauren. Because I love Christina Lauren's, like, they're funny and they're smutty and they're just happy books, and I like that. And then they wrote this one book that was my least favorite they've written, and it was called Love in Other Words, and it was so drama. It was just a sob fest that I was like, ew, I don't like this. And I feel like this is going to be more similar to the sob fest than it is going to be to the laugh fest. So I am cautiously optimistic about this. But I'm hoping I like it, but I have low expectations here. It's about Sam and Tate, and then it's kind of like a first love that goes poorly with betrayal, and then they come back into each other's lives when they're grown up, and it's like twice in a blue moon. Are they gonna fall in love again? I don't know. There's betrayal in the past. So it seems like very similar to that book I didn't like, and I am cautious. But I mean, the cover is dope. So cover goals. They have that at least. The cover is very nice. On deck for December is War Girls by Tochi Onyebuchi. And I have been wanting to read something from Tochi Onyebuchi because he's written a few books and I haven't read them. And then I got this at a library book sale. It's the ARC. I got it for, like, I don't know. I think I paid for it, but it was like a quarter. And it seems so good, frankly. It looks amazing. The whole premise. It's in the future. We're in war-torn Nigeria. There are these two sisters who are war girls, and essentially that means like some of their limbs and parts of their body have been replaced by cybernetic units. So she has like a robot arm and stuff. And they basically are in this war-torn country, and they constantly are in war, and they have to go fight. However, they kind of want to see a stop to war, so it's these two sisters kind of coming together to try to end this war. And all of it sounds amazing. Like, I am so fascinated by this. I definitely want to read it. I am obsessed. I think it's going to be great. Like, I just have a good feeling about it. Do you ever just see a book and you're just like, ooh, I got a good feeling that's going to be good. Like, that's kind of how I feel right now. I have not looked up any reviews because I want to go in a little bit blind because I have this good feeling. I don't want to ruin it. So I am excited. It's war-torn Nigeria and war girls with cybernetic limbs. Like, all of that sounds awesome. Speaking of cybernetics, I am going to be reading Crier's War by Nina Varela. And I am so fascinated by this. And I have so many friends who've read it and loved it, and the cover is like holographic and rainbow and pretty, and it is this world where it's kind of like Terminator but fantasy in a castle with a princess. If Terminator was about a princess, that's what this is about. Basically, this world, they have humans and they have like cyborgs. And the cyborgs are mistreated and they're like, fuck you humans, we're starting wars. And it's about this one cyborg who infiltrates the royal family to kind of find the princess and destroy the princess as like revenge somehow. But then the robot girl and the princess girl, they fall in love. So it's a queer sci-fi robot romance and I'm like into it. It's basically robots catching feels. I'm in, like, all of that I like. So I am so fascinated by this. I've heard amazing things. I am very, very excited to be reading in December. Speaking of queer sci-fi, I'm also going to be reading Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir. I am so excited. I have also heard amazing things about this. It is about queer necromancers in space. What? Yes. Oh my gosh. Space and magic and necromancy and like FF romance in space. Oh my gosh. Like the whole thing, the whole premise is just fantastic, honestly. Like space necromancers and they're queer. Yes, please. I don't even need to know any more about the story. I just have like such good vibes. The cover, gorgeous. I've heard amazing things about it. And also as necromancers, love that. I love that magic. It's space, it's sci-fi, it's queer. It's got like everything I could possibly want. Also, hey, the edges are sprayed black. Like I went and bought the first edition because I was like, ooh, those edges are black. Like I was excited just for the aesthetics. So yeah, I am pumped to read Gideon. Oh my god, I had to read it. I couldn't like wait till 2020 to read Gideon the Ninth. Like, this is a book I was like, yeah, that's got to happen in 2019. It's got to happen before the end of the year. So, pretty pumped about this one. Also on deck is The Burning Shadow by Jennifer Armentrout. This is the sequel to The Darkest Shadow, and this is kind of a spin-off of her Lux series. Now, the Lux series, essentially, it is about angsty teen aliens. I know, but the thing is, angsty teen melodramas about aliens, it's never not going to be my thing. Like, I'm just gonna like it. I grew up watching Roswell. Do you guys remember Roswell? The show is so angsty and so, like, crazy, and I loved it. So it's just gonna be me, like, reading about angsty teen aliens and having a ball. It's my thing. You know, we all have our things, and this is one of mine. I love angsty teen melodramas about aliens. I'm just always gonna like it. And Jennifer Armentrout is so good at writing angsty teen paranormal stories. I read so many of her series and they're so good. They're just like angsty teen gargoyles, angsty teen Greek gods, angsty teen aliens. They're just perfect. It's just perfect for what they are. They're just campy and angsty and melodramatic, and I live for the melodrama. So I am excited. It's gonna be more teen angsty aliens. It is a book for me. I realize it's probably not great literature, but it's a book I'm just going to enjoy. Also, I really want to squeeze in Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Ngan. Sadly, I do not have the finished copy. I have the ARC, but it is a signed ARC, so like part of me wants to buy the finished edition so I have all the beautiful artwork of the cover, but the other hand is this is signed and free, so this is the sequel to Girls of Paper and Fire, and Girls of Paper and Fire, I read it this year and it is so good. Like, I was stunned by how good it was. Like, I was shocked. I loved it so much. So now I have the sequel, And I am so excited. You don't even know. Like, I've been dying to read this. Natasha Ngan has this beautiful writing style. It's so lyrical and interesting, and it's dynamic. That's the best way to describe it. It's lyrical and dynamic. And I just want to dive into it. It's just a lush fantasy world, and it also is a queer romance as well as a FF love story, and I am obsessed. Like, I am so excited. I'm surprised it took me this long to start reading it. Well, actually, it did come out in November, but I've had it longer than November. I just haven't got to it. And I'm like, oh, I can't end this year without getting to this. So it's happening. It's happening. It's gonna happen. Definitely. Yeah, no, it's gonna happen. Last on my TBR list for this month is The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White. Oh man, I love Kiersten White. She is one of my favorite authors. She wrote the Conqueror series, which was amazing, and I love her using, like, you know, historical fact and making it fictional. And this one, I mean, it's Camelot inspired, obviously. It's like Merlin and Camelot and Excalibur and all that jazz, which is fictional, but, you know, well-trodden material, and she's going to take that and turn it on its head a little bit. But it's still going to be the story we know. It's just going to be told from an interesting new perspective, and I love that about her writing. And this one in particular is being told from Guinevere's perspective. And in this one, Guinevere's a badass bitch. She's got magic. She is protecting Arthur because Arthur's gonna go get himself killed, and she's like, bitch, I can't let you die. So she's gonna protect him. And Merlin's just like, hey, you're my good bitch, Guinevere. You gotta protect him. And she's like, all right, cool. So I love. It's gonna have magic. It's gonna have action, and it's gonna be about Guinevere being a bad bitch. And I was like, yes, all of that. And I've been so wanting like a good Camelot story. I haven't had one in like so long that I'm like so impressed that there's a Camelot story like in my hand right now. I am like way into this, like uncomfortably into it. So yes, I could not wait any longer. This could not wait till 2020. It's gonna have to happen in 2019. I am so excited for it. You don't even know. You don't even know how excited I am right now. Well, you have an inkling, but it's like a lot. Oh my. Okay, so this was a very ambitious list for December. Hopefully I'm going to get through all of them, fingers crossed. It's just there's a lot on it, but I definitely really want to try to read them all. I know there's a lot of holidays coming up and I'm going to be busy, so it's going to be a toss-up. Am I going to finish them all? I'm not sure, but ooh, I got like a good list. I feel good about a lot of these books. Like, I'm real excited about it, so I'm pretty pumped right now. I'm so pumped to finish out December. I think like the main thing I have going on is kind of like queer fantasy. I got a lot of queer fantasy in here, and I'm like living for that right now. I'm into it a lot. Let me know in a comment down below. Have you read any of these books? Are you going to be reading any of these books in December? Let me know in a comment down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye!